and welcome to Abstract Essay. Abstract Essay is created to empower artists like us. And today, Mr. Saul.
Yes, we have an artist among us. We have Coleman Charters who's joining us. Coleman, thank you so much for being on Abstract Essay, number one. Uh, I'm just going to give you run off a quick bio for everyone who's watching this or listening to this at home. So Coleman Charters, also known as Why Though, Whytho.
Why
So we're going to
though?
talk about this sort of alter ego persona that Coleman carries. But Coleman's a Zoni, right? Born and raised in Arizona.
Heck yeah.
And I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're ensconced in everything about Arizona that makes it sort of the West's most Western state, right? It's sort of like the last truly Western state, maybe New Mexico, right? But so we're talking a love affair with cowboys, right? With like OK Corral style shootouts with horses, with sunsets, right? Coleman sort of, if you look at his work, and we're going to share it in a sec, but sort of captures that iconography of Arizona, right? Sort of the Western iconography that many people flock here to see and to experience. But it's also through a sort of 21st century lens that Coleman has, right? So it's a unique perspective. I also see a lot of pop art influence in your work,
Definitely.
which is a great melding, I think. Coleman works very large as well, and Coleman is very prolific. So I'm going to share. Let me go ahead and share
Prolific.
your website.
So while
So
you're
for
doing that, Mr. Saul,
Yeah,
let's give him a big hand because of being a prolific
yes,
artist. Yay! Thank you so
absolutely.
much for
Yeah,
being
so
prolific.
you can see Coleman's work at wytho.art, WHYTHO .art. You'll see merch. Coleman's got merch up there. He's got original works for sale. Coleman also currently shows his work at Art One Gallery in Scottsdale, Arizona. So you could check out art1galleryinc.com. If you want to follow Coleman on Instagram, the handle is WHYTHO.art. And what else? Other than that, not much else happening. But again, thank you for being here, Coleman.
Oh,
And I've got some questions for you. Do you want to just dig right in?
sure. Yeah. I'm
Great.
feeling really comfortable with your guys' podcast. So nice job. And thank you so much for having
Well,
me. That means the world.
thank you. Yeah, and we're glad you're here. So let's talk about why though a little
Hmm.
bit, right? So um, it's sort of like an alter ego. I find that super fascinating. I have one of my own, The Stranger. So
Oh, heck yeah.
yeah, so like what's the best thing that you've found in creating that alter ego? What's so liberating about it? What's something that we could share with other artists about that?
Well, truly, first of all, with having kind of an alter ego, there's been multiple times where I'm kind of out in public or I'm going to maybe a gathering of friends, like a party or something like that, or maybe an event. And no one knows the anxieties of why though. They know what Coleman's been through and they know what, a lot of my friends I grew up with, they know Coleman, but why though is just the painter. It's a very closed off, happily closed off. And it really does assist me with kind of confidence and knowing that I do have my own following, which I'm so grateful for. And it leads me to wonderful moments where I get to meet people like you guys. So yeah,
Yes.
definitely an alter ego just erases a lot of anxiety.
So when you're painting, you're why though? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, I'm
Ah,
shut off. I'm
okay.
in the dark. I have the doors are locked, the phone is off, and I'm just that singular entity, and it really helps. It really does.
Nice. And so where did the etymology of the name stem from? Why though?
As a kid, I was just always asking, why are we doing this? Why am I learning algebra? Why am I understanding that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell? And it was always coming back to why are we wasting our time? This isn't what I want to do. Obviously, as I've gotten older, I realize there's a ton of things you're just going to have to do as a kid. There's no asking why. It's just part of the curriculum, right? And I just knew from a very young age I was frustrated with how much time I had to spend that wasn't dedicated to what I wanted to do. Why though? Why am I doing this?
But and now as an adult, you can still question everything, right? You could still ask why though.
Yeah, definitely.
So as an artist, why though is sort of holding a mirror to us, right? To society in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah, to modern day history. As the news rolls out, my brain is still asking a lot of why those on just the whole world and my tiny life as well.
It's a great time to be asking why though, right?
Why though?
Um,
Why?
so
Why?
yeah, and then so where did the so early on in your life, where did this love affair of the West begin? Is it just by birthright, just being born here, or was there a trigger?
Again, if I wasn't frustrated at school, I was kind of frustrated at home. My dad is a backwoods kind of cowboy, but not so cowboy. From a very young age, he was like, Saturdays and Sundays, you're gonna be outside doing more than just the dishes and taking out the garbage. And it grew over time where I was just kind of resenting my weekends as a kid. I just didn't have any time that was just for me. But as I got older, my dad kind of instilled with me this idea of no matter what, you're going to have to work. No one in this life is going to be free from doing things that they necessarily don't exactly want to do. I moved with that and I started really enjoying working. I mean, being outside and kind of working my tail feathers off. And I found out again, maybe about what, 10 years ago, that I have this huge love for the fact that cowboys they wake up to work and their life is
Mm,
satisfied with work. It's fun, but it's work, and that's kind of where I'm at in life. Where I'm kind of in love with work.
nice. And it's a grueling type of work too, right? It's something that I think we romanticize when we watch Western films and such, but it
Definitely.
really is like the part you're tapping into is it's a lifestyle. It's not, right, something you just, play, right? Like Halloween, right?
Yeah, really.
And so, and that comes into, I think my next question for you is what's what's the biggest misconception that people might have, or maybe you've had someone comment on your work, or what's the biggest misconception about Western art, right? Like, because in Arizona, we're surrounded by fine art, right? Like I'm always saying, what the hell is fine art, right?
Yeah, really.
Um, right? Like, what's the misconception about Western art, or is there any that you've seen?
There's been a few artists that have tapped into the kind of poppy, colorful, vibrant, westerns, but the majority of people think a western painting is going to be the same shade of brown, ochre, orange, repeated over and over again. There's
Yeah.
this lovely artist who I do respect. His name is John Clymer. Now, I think his works are classic westerns, but truth be told, there is a feeling that sometimes these paintings can overlap. And these westerns kind of divulge into that same scene by the river, by the horses, by the saloon, and it's the same shade of brown over and over again. So I guess the misconception is that westerns are one specific thing when with my work I'm genuinely trying to make the strangest western you've ever seen.
Right. And we're looking at some of your work now. And yeah, it definitely has totally fresh vibes, right?
Thank you, thank you.
Not what you're used to seeing, not that you don't see like the traditional sort of tired sunset, right? Like I love this one,
Yes,
right?
me
Got
too. I
away.
love that.
You
Thank you.
even
I,
have
I, I
like,
really love that piece.
yeah, I
So,
mean, yeah, go ahead, Daniel. Sorry.
Mr. Coleman, what techniques you mastered that transform your work?
Hmm. As an artist who, again, I think every artist or every creative has a form of anxiety that tells them that idea isn't where they should go. They sit there and they tell themselves no all day, whether it's conversations or what they're painting. Truth be told, I think the first thing I had to master was the fact that I'm gonna say yes to every idea I have. And not everything hits, but for the most part, saying yes to your own ideas is a huge, really difficult part of being an artist. Um, I understand that may be exactly what you're asked, but that's the
Yes.
first thing I had to master.
Definitely. So, how do you handle mistakes or unexpected outcomes in a painting?
Hmm. I had a buddy. His name is Malachi Kellner. He actually is at Art One as well. He's a fantastic artist, very original.
Oh, wow.
We had a yeah. I would love maybe after the show you guys can see some of his work. Um,
Please
yeah, yeah.
invite him to be our guest.
I met him. I met him, right?
Oh
Did you
yeah,
was
no,
he the
he's
one you collaborated with?
yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
We were painting together in his backyard, and we would kind of take like, you get a chance to add something, I get a chance to add something, and it was just kind of back and forth. And I realized really quickly I was before I'd put my paintbrush or as he uses pieces of cardboard to actually paint. Before I did that, I sat there and I'd look up at him and I go, "Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this would be a mistake or?" And he'd sit there and look at me and be like, "Dude, this is us having fun. You are obsessed with your mistakes." And he looks at me and he goes, "What's the last mistake you made?" And I sat there and I was like with art, painting. And I sat there and I couldn't remember the last painting I thought I made a mistake on. And he goes, "Then no one else is gonna think of it. You're the only person that's obsessed with mistakes you can't even remember." And that's how I try my hardest to deal with mistakes or regrets.
Oh wow. So he was like kind of your foil as
Definitely.
you worked. Is that the
Absolutely.
recommend? Is that when you collaborate? Is that the recommendation to work with to work with an opposite? Because
Honestly, yeah, he's very different.
yeah. Yeah, because when I remember seeing your collaborative works, but my first thought was, how the hell is anyone or two people, two artists, two egomaniacs, like I assume everyone, how are
To
they going to
anchor
work on
man.
one surface, right? And
Mm,
you made it work.
yeah. It's a lot of trust. It really is. It's a lot of like, man, are we painting to sell this or are we painting because we both enjoy painting together? And it
Yeah.
definitely was painting together.
Do you see going forward any more collaboratives coming up?
Our lives have gotten very busy. But if we ever brought it up again, it would be so easy. We would love to do that.
And you're also associated with the Museum of the West, right? In Scottsdale?
Yes, sir.
You're like you live the Western lifestyle. He lives and breathes it, Daniel, which is
The
good.
only
You're
th-
carrying the you're carrying
yeah.
it into this century.
I mean, I'm positively obsessed. The only thing I don't have is a horse. I mean, that's it. That's all I'm missing.
Yet.
Yeah, yeah. I'm working something out right now. No.
Yeah. So, but does your experiences working with the Museum of the West, does that inform your own work at all, or why those work?
Oh yeah. Even in parts like that, I forget that I picture myself as why though. But
Just
at the
put the
museum, I'm
glasses on,
definitely
and I won't tell.
yeah, the Clark Kent. There we go. Um, working at the museum, I've gotten to meet a lot of legendary people. One being Marc Majori, the French Western artist that has just taken over this side of the U.S. He is, people are obsessed with his work. And working at the museum, I've had so many moments to not only analyze the past with Western art, but I get my front door, ocean. What is it called? Oceanfront property with what
Yeah.
modern Western works are.
Yeah, and you have exclusive access to like the latest stuff. And is it changing overall? Like, is this perception that I keep talking about, is that shifting? Is it
Definitely.
evolving?
I'd say
Yeah.
a primarily a lot of Western art is consumed by generations older than me, and they're not so much into the more vibrant poppy sort of Western that I guess I'm attempting. But as I've worked at the museum, and especially with the curatorial team, which is a crazy bonus that I somehow worked out, I get to see a lot of newer age Westerns that are, it's honestly changing pretty fast. It's really interesting to watch.
Hmm. That's encouraging to know. I have more questions, Daniel. Do you have one?
Yes. What's the biggest challenge you face in your painting journey?
Hmm. Biggest challenge. I think for me personally, and maybe for a lot of other artists, it's saying that you're an artist. A lot of people have
Mhm.
fantastic skills, but they still don't call themselves an artist. I have friends that sell their works and they're like, "No, I just have fun." And it's like, "No, you're an artist.
Right.
You wake up to paint or to create. That's an artist to me personally." So I guess my hardest challenge in the beginning was when people ask, "Coleman, what do you do for work?" The first thing I always tell them, above the museum, above anything, is I work to paint. I get up and I grab my brushes, and that's why I wake up in the morning.
Yeah. Well, you got to say, when they say, Coleman, what do you do? What do you do? You got to say, you have to ask why though. Why though's not here right
Why
now.
do? Yeah.
He's out of the office. He's gone
Yeah.
fishing.
I have a question for you regarding, I see, again, we're here with Coleman Charters. Check out Coleman's website, whytho.art. You sell a lot of merch on your website. So how important is it for artists of this century to be versatile, to push their stuff, to get it out there? Is it important? Do you see that growing in your own sort of career?
Hmm, that's a really good question. Um, Truth be told, it is very hard to navigate a lot of social media, which is how most artists are just going to get their stuff out there. I mean,
Mhm.
back in the day, it was just meet these two people and they'll let everybody know about you. You'll be done. Obviously, not that easy, but I encourage everybody, no matter how many followers you have, no matter how many likes you have, post every day, get out there every single day, try and learn the algorithms of all these different medias. And if you feel like painting, you should paint. But if you feel like, I hope this doesn't come across rude. If you feel like making confident money, you should go for merch.
Mm.
Paintings have a chance of selling, but there are so many people that I know with massive followings online that have never painted in their life, but they make some very lovely doodles and prints sell for 45 bucks a piece. And
Right.
by the end of the hour, they're sold out because they chose the path of merch. And I think that's really impressive. It's really interesting.
The path of merch. I like how that's take the red pill or the blue pill. Yeah, and we live in a time, again, we're in the 21st century. Here we are, thanks to Daniel, we're on a podcast, right? So
Thank God.
so we have these tools, we have the technology. It's just a matter of how do we use them, right, for our own sort of journey, to help our journey. Um, but yeah, you're right. We also have the ability to extend the work beyond the canvas, right? We produce it on a canvas, but then we could take a photo of it and then it becomes replicated and dispersed and disseminated um, in a tasteful way. Like your work
Yeah,
is very tasteful, your merch is tasteful, right?
thanks.
I had a question about your future goals. What are
Mm.
they?
Yeah.
Man, uh, I'm just reaching the cusp of honestly waking up confident and happy. I understand that maybe my goals long term are to be in some more established galleries and to sell my works for more than what they're selling for. But the path that I'm on, and because of the art and how I'm involved, it's turning me into a person that wakes up happy. And my goal is slowly getting there. It's very hard, especially in this modern day era. There's always something on fire, and it's very easy to get definitely anxious or depressed off of it. So I guess my long term goals are, keep pushing as much as I possibly can and get to a place where I'm just a happier person. Harder
Yeah.
than it seems, honestly.
Right. No, I feel the same way. I go through the same sort of mindset. Um, I wonder what would a collaboration between Why Though and Coleman Charters be like? We're
It'd be a
getting
mess.
meta here.
It'd be a beautiful mess. I have a couple paintings like that. I don't think I've ever really shown them, but they're not even really westerns. They're very much something silly and deep.
Hmm. Do you have any mentors growing up? Did you?
Ooh,
That you know that
definitely.
you could either know them or you looked up to them?
Mm. I mean, there's lots of artists that I've looked up to, but primarily, my mom and dad were small town people, and they had ginormous ideas that they worked very hard to pursue. And I was very fortunate to be raised in a household where My parents were fortunate enough to have their own business, and they had a marketing business, and so I constantly grew up in office buildings watching my parents discuss how are they going to get this deal done and how are they going to benefit from the amount of work they put in today. You know, it's crazy watching your mother and father try to explain marketing to you as a child. It's a crazy feeling. But yeah, I look up to them a lot. Yeah,
But now that's starting to inform your own work, right?
very much so.
Like again, like managing and monitoring a website, that's a form of business, right? And that's a
Yeah,
responsibility. It's not easy to keep a website going, right?
no,
So
no.
so you're learning the tricks of the trade. And how old are you, if you could share that?
Oh
Thanks,
yeah, no,
Fred.
You're in your
I'll be
20s?
I'll be 27 this year.
Oh my God, you got so long to go.
So long to go, Mr. Coleman.
Thanks, guys.
And
Yeah.
we have a milestone, Mr. Saul, that we want to share to the world that we are number two best abstract podcast, according to Abstract Player FM.
You know, people
Yeah.
always called me number two, and now, you know, I could actually, no, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you, Player FM, for being where in the list. Being number two is something else.
Oh,
And yes, thank you so much. And according to FeedSpot, we're number four best abstract podcast. So thank you
Wonderful.
so much.
that's awesome. Well, because we have special guests like Coleman here.
Yes,
Last week we had Anna Krieg.
yes,
We're gonna
and
try to book some more, but yeah, that's incredible.
awesome,
Uh,
awesome milestones. And Mr. Coleman, how do you feel when sharing your work with others?
Hmm. That's a really good question.
yeah.
I actually don't get. I've never been asked that. Um, I am a little shy. I still have a lot of room for my confidence to be as real as it should be. When I share my work, I'm hoping someone derives some emotion from it.
Mhm.
I'm really happy to take critiques and have people tell me where I'm at in their opinion. I eat that kind of stuff up very easily. But I'm definitely a little shy. I still have some moments where I'm like, I really hope you like it. And this person's like, I bought your last two paintings. Yeah, I really like it. And I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, don't ask that. Don't ask if you're sure if you like your art,
You're trying to convince them not to buy it.
Yeah, for some reason. That's where my brain is like, you should
Yeah,
save your money.
yeah.
For some reason.
You're
It's like I
so
know a great therapist who might help you. I do the same thing. It's unbelievable. What is that? Is it just like this creative insecurity we have?
Personally, I look at my prices for my paintings, and I'm really fortunate to have them where they're at. I don't have to exaggerate or bump them up or lower them but there's still this part of me that's like, are you sure are you sure you're not doing this out of being nice? Because I maybe do some things like that. I may buy an artist's work because I want them to succeed. It may not be my favorite piece in the world, but I sit there and maybe I'm sitting there going, are they like, okay, are they really
Mhm.
convinced? I'm not sure. It's very strange.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, Coleman. I mean, you're very young still, but there's no reason not to have a mentor or to be a mentor,
Mm,
right?
yes.
So I think we all have had mentors in our lives, and we will keep being them to others too.
yeah.
But
I mean, honestly, I remember getting to meet you for the first time, and I just wasn't, I wasn't super
I'm sorry to
aware.
hear that.
There we go again, right?
Like, and
Um,
my life is just, and my life
and
has
it
gone
changed
downhill ever
forever.
since.
I'll send you the bill.
Yeah.
No, I remember we had this big Art One, wine meet and greet, and I didn't know the artists at our gallery, but I was already really infatuated with your work. I I showed my friends, and I'm just not good with names. I just don't always pay attention to the artist's name, which is crazy. But I remember meeting you for the first time, and you were like, "I'm Sal. That's my work." And I remember just sitting there looking at one of your cityscapes, and I was like, oh, this is so
Yeah.
cool. Like, oh God, I have no
You're like,
idea
I
what
want
I'm
to
saying
know
right now.
what drug he's on, and I need to know.
No, man, I think I remember the piece was was the man in the coat underneath the light and the excess of the dark city behind him. And I remember sitting there being like, that is exactly the feeling that I got from it. It was just so wonderfully, God, I need to meet that guy. And I met you and I was like, damn, that's cool as heck. I'm
You're
just
like,
pleased.
he's not as cool as the character in the painting, but well, but that's the thing, and I see it too in your work. Is you become the painting, you inhabit the world, the environment that you're producing on this canvas, right? You become that for however long it takes to create it. It's about mood, I think, right? You embrace the
Sure.
mood. So
Mm-hmm.
keep doing that. But yeah, I'm glad I met you as well, and this has been a great opportunity to get to learn more about you and your work and what inspires you. So thank you for being here. Daniel, do you have any
Oh, thank you
questions?
Yes,
guys.
yes. And you always, well, welcome to come back anytime,
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you from the bottom
Coleman.
of my heart.
Yes, so what do you hope viewers feel or take away from your paintings?
Another fantastic question. You guys were really ready. You guys' podcast is very professional.
Where's why though? Get why though in here.
Why though?
I come up with the worst Karl Marx, not Karl Marx, but what's the what's the
Oh,
mustache with
Laura
the big
Mark,
nose?
yeah. Um,
Oh gosh,
I,
what's their darn name?
yeah. Oh my gosh,
I
Charlie
know, I
Chaplin,
can't.
Charlie Chaplin.
The
No, the Marx
glasses, with the
Brothers.
big.
The
Yes.
Marx Brothers.
Gosh, I can't believe I said Karl Marx. Apologies. No, I hope people can derive a sense of, obviously happiness, but I want people to look at my art and go like, how the heck does this guy look at westerns? How does he look at the West? Instead of
Hmm.
painting me a sunset, his entire background is the color of the sunset. His cowboy is not clean. It's very drippy. It's very messy, and I want them to maybe expand their mind, or I guess their opinions of what art could be. That one in the middle, I love that. I'm actually proud of that one. I believe it's Sandwalker, and
Wow.
I've had a lot of thank
Hmm.
you. I've had a lot of people look at me and go, okay, I wouldn't picture this dreamy,
Uh-huh.
moody landscape for a western, and I was like, yes, that's the emotion I want to go for.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Awesome.
mood.
That's
That's the
awesome,
mood.
yes.
The mood we're talking about.
Definitely the mood. So while we are scrutinizing your painting, Mr. Coleman, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, and my abstract poetry in second season. And of course, my book 101 review in fifth season, and comedy
Wow.
101. Yes, and comedy 101 in second season. And of course, my what else? My podcast, Geography 101 in its fourth season, and my baby
Wow.
podcast, Law 101 and Love Letters. I know Mental Health 101. Those are my baby podcast, Love Letters in the third season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in each fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first
Wow.
season.
I'm
Please
telling you,
listen to
he's got
them.
every food group represented.
Yes,
That's
food
Yeah.
group.
amazing.
I just want to share the screen. Yes, I want to repeat. Please do listen to our abstract essay with Mr. Sal in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season. Of course, my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and mental health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in its fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first
Wow.
season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast.
Absolutely. And again,
That's
Yes,
impressive.
check out Coleman's work as well.
yes.
Whytho.art, WHYTHO.art. Follow Coleman on Instagram at whytho.art as well. Before we close out, Coleman, anything you want to mention? Any announcements? Things coming up? Things you're excited about?
You know,
Yeah.
I'm just working hard. I'm constantly posting and I'm constantly trying to make people laugh a little bit on TikTok. So I also have a TikTok, Witho.art. Besides that, thank you guys so much. I'm a huge fan of you both, and I feel very lucky to be here.
Likewise.
Yes, definitely. And again, thank you so much for being part on Abstract Essay. One more question. Where do you typically find inspiration for your paintings?
Oh man, everywhere. I'm constantly searching and I'm constantly trying to meet new people. I mean, even looking at Sal's work, I immediately thought to myself, wow, this is something I've never seen before. It inspires me. So you have to go to museums. You have to search online. You have to meet people. You have to visit your local galleries. They need
Yeah,
them.
Mhm.
So yeah, inspiration's everywhere.
Yep. And they need
definitely.
them now more than ever, right?
I agree.
Especially. But thank you, Coleman. This was a treat.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
Yes.
guys.
Wytho. Tell Wytho.
Why
Give Wytho our
though?
regards.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll let them know. I'll let them know.
yes. And thank you, Fitchpad and Player FM for being in the list. We are so honored. Number two and number four. And for sure next month will be number one. Right, Mr. Sal?
I hope so. I'll write some new jokes. But yeah,
Let's have the spirit. We will be number one next month.
Heck
Mr.
yeah.
Coleman, thank you so much for being part.
Thank
come
you.
back anytime, Coleman.
Oh
Yes,
man, I love it. I chat your guys' ears off every day.
yes, please do come over. More to come, people. See you soon.